This was the moment that a 32,000-ton container ship slammed into a steel bridge in Baltimore, toppling the structure in a matter of seconds.
Be advised, the entire bridge, the entire Key Bridge has fallen into the harbor.
As the sun rose, the scale of the destruction of the Francis Scott Key Bridge came into full view. The 300-metre-long ship with its nose rammed into the steelwork of the bridge. A bridge that stood for nearly 50 years, but in the early hours of Tuesday morning came crashing down in an instant after the Singapore-registered vessel struck one of its main support columns at approximately 1:30 a.m.
To hear the words that the Key Bridge has collapsed, it's shocking and heartbreaking.
A state of emergency has been declared in Baltimore on America's east coast as divers, helicopters and support ships search for survivors. Authorities said at least 8 construction workers were on the bridge mending potholes at the time. One is in hospital in a serious condition. One is uninjured, but 6 others are still unaccounted for. The governor said the container ship was travelling at a very rapid speed of about 8 knots, as captured by this web camera, and that it lost power, causing its lights to go out moments before it hit the bridge. The crew on board issued a mayday call that officials said allowed them to quickly halt additional traffic coming onto the bridge, though it's not clear whether there were any vehicles actually on the bridge at the moment of collapse. Did you just say that it issued a mayday in enough time that you were able to stop all traffic from entering both sides?
We're thankful that between the mayday and the collapse that we had officials who were able to begin to stop the flow of traffic.
But there were some on the bridge. There have been reports that have been sonar that have detected vehicles at the bottom of the water. There could still be people trapped inside or potentially have died in vehicles, is that correct?
Well, the investigation is still going on to find out exactly how many people and what was the situation. But the thing that we do know, many of the vehicles were stopped before they got onto the bridge, which saved lives in a very, very heroic way.
In the nearby town of Dundalk, locals were still in shock, having been woken up by crashing sounds in the middle of the night.
It made my house shake. My friend, she thought, though, that maybe a plane crashed into the water or something like that.
So it was that loud?
Yeah. The only thing we can do is just hope for the 2 survivors and pray for the rest.
I don't understand how this bridge came down in a matter of just 2 seconds. And you think to yourself, well, you know, how many times have I been on the bridge? How many times have my family members, friends traveled on this bridge? There's really no words. Very, very, very scary stuff.
When my husband got up, he said, "Chris, the Key Bridge is gone." Yeah, we're both iron workers. You know, our union hall built that bridge, and so of such historic significance. It's devastating. It's very sad. And so much tonnage of steel on infrastructure, a magnificent infrastructure, to go down like a toothpicks. And not to mention the lives, you know. Everybody's praying for those poor people.
It's not clear when or how they will begin to untangle the wreckage of this morning's devastating accident. In the meantime, the active search and rescue mission continues, but the hope for survivors in these chilly waters dims with every passing hour. Well, what's really struck me is just how emotional people are here, particularly down on the water's edge. One man told me that the bridge was like an old friend, he said, someone that he looked forward to seeing every morning as he drank his cup of coffee. Nobody here can believe how the bridge crumpled as it did in just a matter of seconds. Of course, beyond the emotion, there is the trade angle. Baltimore is one of America's biggest ports, ferrying billions of dollars worth of goods every day. But as long as that container ship there, you can see behind me, remains stuck in the river, nothing can get in or out. In the last hour or so, Joe Biden has described this as a terrible accident. He said that all federal dollars will be made available to replace the bridge, but nobody, I can tell you, wants to say, hazard a guess how long that will take. One thing, though, is for sure, had this incident happened during rush hour rather than the early hours of this morning, we would be looking at an altogether different story.